What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Donnie B here. So a couple weeks ago, I bought the Rodecaster Duo. I was super excited. I get it here and I set it all up. And you know, when you buy any new tech nowadays, the first thing they ask you to do is firmware update it. Well, I did the firmware update and it got stuck on a boot loop and couldn't even use it. So I decided that if it's going to be like this on day one, I really didn't want to trust it to integrate it into my workflow. So I went back to my roots. I went back to what I know, which is Zoom handy recorders. Now, I've been using Zoom recorders since the very beginning of this channel. The H4n Pro, the H4 Essentials. I actually bought this on the day that it launched. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was on the 32-bit float bandwagon. I bought the hype. I was sold on it. But you saw the video title. You saw the thumbnail. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the H5 Studio, and this thing is pretty awesome. Let's talk about it. Now, I got a few disclaimers. Number one, sorry for the audio. All my recorders are on the table. I can't use the boom mic. I'm having to use the DJI mic. Number two, I am not an audio technician, an audiophile, an audio nerd. I know just enough to be dangerous. So if you're here for the technical specs, then I'm sorry I misled you, but you probably ought to find another video because I don't really dive deep into it like that. Curtis Judd has actually got a really good video. Oh, also not sponsored. I did buy this from B&H, but there will be affiliate links in the description below. And this is actually my third time recording this. I was sitting here editing the video. You can see here, there's the H5, and I didn't like it. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't even watch this. I don't want to watch it while I edit it. So I'm redoing it. And what I'll probably do is just end up cutting a lot of it in there, you know, some of the things like the audio test, stuff like that. But as far as talking about the product, I wanted to redo that. So you might be asking, Donnie, why should I get, you know, such an expensive handy recorder when there's other options out there? First of all, this was cheaper than the Rode. It doesn't do all the things the Rode does, but it does a lot of it. This comes in at $349, and it is studio quality. So first, the elephant in the room, look at the size of those capsules. They are absolutely massive, 19.5 millimeters. And just compare it to the, now this isn't an old recorder, but look, just compare it to, isn't that crazy? Sorry, it's not focusing. They are massive and they sound great. Now, I don't ever use them. You know, I don't go out and do field recording. This is strictly for audio interface and running XLR microphones into it. So that's really what this video is about, is, you know, just plugging in some microphones, recording 32-bit float, and using it as audio interface. One thing about the H5 series, now this is not just for the H5 Studio, the other H5 will also do this, but the capsule is removable. So you just pop that off and it can be removed. Also, your 3.5 millimeter jack in is on this capsule. One upgrade over the Essentials line is that this 3.5 will record 32-bit float. So on the Essentials, the XY microphone would do 32-bit, but the 3.5 line in would not. Don't know why. It just never did. Now, it is making additional capsules for this, so you can get 2 more XLR ports that snap in. There's also a shotgun microphone attachment, and eventually there will be a Bluetooth receiver for Zoom's wireless Bluetooth lavalier mics. I don't think they're available yet, but they are supposed to be coming soon. It won't work with like the DJI mic, but it will work with their proprietary wireless lavalier mic. One thing I wish it did have is just a black plastic cap, you know, because being in here, I don't ever use this. I mean, there might come a time where I'm out and about and I need a handy recorder or something, and I might use this, but really this is all I needed for my workflow, and it'd be cool to have a cap. I've been thinking about getting a 3D printer, and maybe that'll be the first thing that I print. Now, this is a 6-track recorder, but there are only 2 XLRs on the bottom. They do double as a 1/4-inch TRS, and then you have the XY track, which also shares the same track as the 3.5. So you can do either or. You can't do both. And then the other ones are going to be mixed tracks. So on the left side here, you have a micro SD card slot, a scroll wheel enter button, and a 5-volt USB-C. Now this will work for file transferring, charging, or as an audio interface. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. And there's also a little spot right here. Let's see if I can get it open. Now this is for your timecode adapter or a Bluetooth adapter. So you can buy an adapter that will work with DJI mic or Rode microphones, but it's a separate purchase and it'll slide in right there. And on the left side, you have a 3.5 millimeter line out for running to your camera, as well as a headphone jack with its own dedicated volume dial and the power button with a hold feature so that you can't change settings after you get it dialed in the way you like it. Now, this was a huge upgrade over the Essentials line because this one actually shared a port for line out and headphone. You could not monitor audio and run to your camera at the same time. It was very aggravating a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. That was a huge selling feature for me and my workflow. And I couldn't be alone on that. And on the back, there's a 1/4-20 as well as the battery door for holding your 4 AA batteries. Now, the battery life, they say, is between 9 and 12 hours, which is pretty impressive. But I imagine that depends if you're running phantom power on your XLRs. Which I did when I recorded the last video. I had it running for about an hour with 2 XLRs as well as recording with the XY microphones, and the battery meter didn't even budge. Now, looking at the face of this, you can see that there are 4 dials. They are independent of each other, so each one controls the XLR on the bottom, and then you can control the XY independently or link them to one knob. It's important to mention, though, that these are not gain knobs. These are output levels, so you're not controlling the gain going in, you're controlling the volume going out, which is okay. It works good. I mean, it does, but I know some of you might not be on that 32-bit float bandwagon and still record in 32 or 24-bit and like to set your own gain. But it works fine. The noise floor is very, very low thanks to the preamps. Now, you might ask yourself, why is this studio quality? Like, what makes it the H5 Studio? Well, because the preamps are the same ones that are found in the F series, the much more expensive ones that are actually rated for film and broadcast. The preamps are excellent in the F series recorders, and now you have those in here. The way they saved a lot of the cost on these was putting cheaper preamps, and these had horrible noise. Horrible. When you had to lift that volume up in post, that was just a hiss. There always was a hiss. You just never could seem to get it right. At least I couldn't. Somebody probably can, but this was very, very noisy. And they completely did away with those preamps and put the ones from the F series in there, and they sound great. Okay, I know this is going to be kind of hard to see. Let me fire this one up because I want to show you. This is the H4 Essentials display, and all you had was a waveform. There was no dB meter. Now, some of you might prefer to use waveform, but you can see how small that is and muddy looking. It was just hard to dial in the exact volume that I was looking for. Now, there is a mixer, and you could adjust levels, but it only showed you 0. It did not show you like -12 or -10. It would just show you when you were starting to clip. And it was just hard. Like there was never a time where I didn't have to raise the volume in post. Never a single time. I could never get it right in this. Now that could be a lack of experience or a lack of knowledge, or maybe a better graph would have helped me out a lot. And that's where they did a huge improvement on this. You can already see we got a dB meter right here. Not only that, do you have a dB meter, but there are 3 different displays to choose from now. So if you bump the scroll wheel, then at the top the menu will come across, and you can scroll over to display right there, and display. So you can have your waveform. Oh, it's only going to work if it's recording. So you can have your waveform. You can see how much wider it is, and you can actually see a little bit more detail of how to monitor your audio. And then let me stop this, and I can go to display, and then you can have waveform or the dB meter. I mean, really, whatever your preference is, you should be able to find it through the settings. Now, I personally like just the dB meter, and so I put it on this one, and you can see like -12 is right there in the middle. It's right there in the sweet spot. You can easily see. Now I can see that since I'm not looking at it, it's kind of low. But if I want to turn it up, look, I can just go over here, bump it up, and you can see it raise that level up. So it's just a lot more intuitive, a lot easier to see, even out of the corner of your eye. Like you're sitting here talking to the camera, I could see that it's clipping right now. Yeah, it just big upgrades. So both of these XLRs do output 48 volt phantom power, and I'm about to plug in the MKE 600 from Sennheiser into channel 1, and then we'll hit 1 and then record. Actually, is that... Oh, the volume's down. Let me turn it up. You should be able to see. Yeah, see how the levels just picked up? Super easy to monitor. Okay, we're a little bit loud. Let me turn it down just a little bit. And that should be right where I want it. This one's still a little bit high too. Now you see how easy it was to dial in exactly where I needed to be? I mean, with F-series preamps, I love this thing a lot. And I'm going to be honest with you. Like, the Rode is cool. Like, a lot of dials, sound pad. It does a lot. You can connect your wireless microphones to it, but it was big. It took up real estate that I don't have. You see how small this room is. You see how small my desk is. I didn't have room for it. And this just tucks away. I got a little friction arm over here. I actually have a Peak Design capture clip on a friction arm, and then I mount the Peak Design plate on the back of this, and it just pops right in and hangs there. It just takes up very little space. It takes very little power to run. It can run on battery if I need it to, or you can just plug it in USB-C and run it all day. The memory card is, I've got a 128 gig in it, and I've yet to fill it up. I do format it every time I start a new video. I think you can go up to a 512 gig card, or you can use it as an audio interface and record it straight to your recording software. All right, while we're talking about recording software, this can record up to 192 kilohertz. So sample rate, yep, you got 44.1, 48, 96, and 192. Now, I personally just stick with 48. That's what most of my cameras are anyway, and I just try to keep that audio the same. But I could see where if you were trying to record sounds of nature or sound effects, you'd probably want the highest sample rate possible, but you will have a bigger file size. It's not going to be massive, but because most audio files aren't really too big, but it will be a larger file size. Now, while we're talking about the menu system, you can see right across the top of the screen here, there's nothing there, but if you bump the enter button or the scroll wheel, you'll see it pop up. The first one in the list is File List. Now, the Zoom file naming system is a little hard to understand, but you do get used to it rather quickly. The DJI mic is very, very similar when it comes to file naming. It goes by date and then file number. Super long number. A little aggravating at first. You do eventually get the hang of it. But let me go back. The next one is your input. So if you click on input, you would choose the microphones at the top. Right now we're on the XY microphone. You can see there's low cut. Oh, you can see there's low cut. You have a limiter. You can do mono mix or stereo. And then plug-in power. Plug-in power is actually kind of huge because if you're using a microphone like the Rode VideoMic NTG that cuts on automatically when you turn your camera on, that's what your plug-in power is, where you can have it set up to where it cuts that on when you cut the recorder on. And then you can have the left-right gain knob, or I'm sorry, the left-right gain knob linked together to where you're only using one knob for all of it. And then you can even link the channels. No, that's on mic 1. So on your XLRs, you can choose between whether you're doing a microphone or a line to say an instrument. That's pretty cool. They didn't have that on the Essentials line. And then there's your 48 volt on and off, your low cut filter, your limiter, and then 1 and 2 links. So you can link the first and second XLR channel to just one channel. Like I said, 6 tracks, only 3 or actual 3 inputs, but the other 3 are for linking. And then gain knob link, and then for track 2 it's the same. So we'll go back. Next is your output settings, which is your line out levels and then your line out limiter. So you pretty much can limit your audio whether it's going in or going out. You can add a limiter. I try to just get my levels right going out, but I haven't really played around with the limiter too much. And then you got your sample rates and everything. I just showed you that. The next is the display. I showed you that. And then SD card for doing a quick test if your card is compatible, or you can format it. and then your USB. So this is where you can do file transfer or audio interface. Now, if you click the audio interface, you can actually go through. So I can zoom this in. Oh, wrong way. Does that help? So you can actually choose your sample rate and whether you want to use the audio interface and record or just audio interface. So you can record your audio, like say if you're streaming and you want to record the audio from your stream, you can do that directly in here as well. And I have it on record, and then it's not going to let me because you go to connect, but there's not a USB plugged in. Yeah, it didn't let me. Oh my goodness, I just had an allergy attack. That was bad. I'm going to cut that out. Y'all don't need to see that. All right, the last one is system settings. This is where you have your language, your date and time, screen brightness, accessibility settings. One cool thing under system settings is right here under power. You can actually choose the type of battery. I guess it draws power differently, but you can choose between alkaline or lithium, NIMH. I've actually been using rechargeable batteries, and it works pretty good. All right, I was going to say we'll just cut to the previous recordings for the audio samples, but we're having a good time, right? We might as well just keep this party going, so we'll just do it right here. I've already got the microphone plugged in. Everything's set up. We'll just go ahead and we'll roll with it like this, right? How's that sound? All right, so we got one. Oh, so at the top here, I forgot to mention that. At the top, you can see there's a button right there, and then it says 32-bit float on this side and 16 and 24-bit on that side. So there is a tally light to let you know which bit you're recording in, and it's super easy to change. You just press it, and it will ask you to change to a fixed bit rate. I'll just leave it in 32-bit float just for this because it's just easier that way. Also, there is a lot of handling noise. So let me hit cancel and then record. Let me just let you hear the handling noise. So if you're going to be handling it, it's best to put it on something like this where you're not really touching it, because if you move your hand around on it a lot or if you fumble it in your hand, you're gonna get a lot of noise with it. All right, so this is the audio that you can expect to get with the massive XY microphones on the Zoom H5 Studio. My name is Donnie, and I make mediocre tech videos. Just realized the noise cancellation was on this. I hope the audio's okay. Now this is the Sennheiser MKE600 going phantom power into the XLR. And my name is Donnie, and I make mediocre tech videos. I can hear a little bit of the fan on this light right here. It's not terrible, but I can hear it. So now we're going to see how quiet it is in a sound treated room. All right, well, I can hear that dinner's ready, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I really do appreciate each and every one of y'all. The H5 Studio is a great addition to anybody's workflow, whether it's a small studio like this or you're actually trying to record, film and broadcast out there with these F-series preamps. Dual AD converters, low noise floor, massive stereo microphones. It's just great for the money. Now, you can get better for more money, but for the price, you really can't beat it. Now, whether you're going out and recording sound effects or nature sounds or film and broadcast, or just a small setup in a bedroom like this, it's a great addition, and I do recommend it. So that's going to do it for this one. I really do appreciate each and every one of y'all. Hit the like button if you found this at all helpful, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. As always, take care of yourselves. You know you deserve it. I'm Donnie B, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.